Hi there. The title of the video today is called Go for Your Life Purpose. My name is Connie and I have a coaching practice where I actually use the name Connie Livingston. And I also have a pen name, which is Cornelia Ward. And I'm an author of the book Go Forward Fearlessly, a spiritual roadmap for how to be happy, stress-free, and confident despite massive change. Here is that book. You can find it on Amazon, but I'll also give you my website address. You can get it right off my website as well as some free stuff. So, did you know that the bigger your purpose, the louder the voices are in your head? And think about those voices as actually getting you kind of in the right direction. It's not an invitation to stop. It's actually an invitation for you to step forward through that fear. And we'll talk a little bit more about that toward the end of the video. So the big thing that I wanted to talk about today is that, we live in a world that has we're in the middle of a big transition in terms of the way we think about work. And the old paradigm, the paradigm that a lot of us grew up with, is the paradigm where you go to work and maybe you do use some of your skills, and it's okay if you wake up in the morning and you don't really want to go to work. It's just part of the deal. You earn money, you go to work, during the week or whatever your schedule is, and then on the weekend, you get a chance to do what you really want to do. Well, what's happening now, I believe, is that we're really being called to do something different. So, for instance, somebody who just perpetually keeps losing a job, or loses a job that they weren't that thrilled about, and they've kind of been daydreaming about doing something different. Well, there's definitely a connection between those two things. The job may have gone away because that person no longer, their heart really wasn't in it anymore. So that can actually be a positive thing and a great invitation for you or somebody that to walk through the door of really sharing their gifts with the world. So that's the old paradigm of going to work to earn money, not necessarily enjoying what you do. And a lot of people have a big conflict with that, an internal conflict, because of course that's the way our world has been working. And the new paradigm is really about moving into something that you enjoy doing. And people tend to have a lot of guilt around that. They feel as if, that's not maybe necessarily the way things are supposed to work when they go about earning money. So just know that that's changing. If there's a lot of inner conflict going on for you, for instance, that's really what it is. It's just this major change that's happening. And then that's when you get this inner conflict, and then those voices come up and they're like, well, who do you think you are? And, you can't do that. You can't really have the career that you think you deserve. And that, of course, is not true. So the other thing I wanted to talk about that is that Janet Attwood is an author, and she has this great quote that I actually mentioned in my book. I actually have a whole chapter in my book that's called actually Go for Your Life Purpose. And she says that 80% of Americans wake up each morning not happy, not fulfilled, and not passionate about what they do. And I don't know about you, but when I hear about that just breaks my heart. I mean, 80% of working Americans. And so, that is why, for instance, and this happened to me about 5 years ago. I mean, I see clients all the time who come to me who are just like overwhelmed, overworked, don't like going to work, and they're starting to have at least one major health problem. And they finally realize, well, that's the big red flag, and they better get some help with that. And so they come to see me. And they're those folks that are going through that inner conflict of, do I really have to go to work at a job that I don't enjoy? And what am I meant to do? And there's really this huge kind of inner kind of search process that happens for them. So know that, if you are one of the 80%, you're in good company. But you may be having some health problems. You may be know somebody, have a family member or a loved one who's going through health problems and going through some career angst. And so those things really go hand in hand. And that, again, is another invitation to really do what your soul is calling you to do, which is why you keep getting these kind of red flags, and they get bigger and bigger until you do that. So in my situation, until about 2009, I quit my job in financial services, and I really crashed and burned. I got really sick, really depressed. Normally, I'm just like this really healthy person, and I just was trying to make it work, trying to make it work. I was getting up in the morning thinking, oh yeah, there are aspects of my job that I really like, but there was a lot of it that just wasn't working very well for me. And so that's when I got really sick, and I got so sick that I could only work half time, and that's had never happened to me before. And I've been working for decades, and that had never happened. So I knew that there was really something up with that. I quit my job and did something different. So if that sounds familiar, know that can be a red flag, and that you can really be opening the door to a much better life. So the thing to do when you hear those loud voices is to just blast through that fear. And if you want to know more ways of how to do that, I have a whole chapter actually in my book about dealing with fear. And so that would be a good start. You may have some things that are kind of your go-to tools when fear comes up for you, but just know you can blast through that fear. That's all those voices are. And you can have that dream career that you deserve. You can. And in fact, as you do that, as you share your gifts and talents, the things that you are really meant to share with the world, not only are you happier, your health issues go away, your relationships get better. I see this all the time. Your life just gets so much easier and so much lighter and so much more enjoyable in all ways. And on top of that, those people who really need the product or service, or for you to complete that job, be in that job that really makes a contribution to that team, for instance, that you're working with, those people really need your gifts and talents. I see that happen all the time. So it's not selfish to do what you really love to do and to follow your intuition and choose the right job, for instance. It's really about you following kind of your inner calling and do what you know that you're meant to do. And you will find yourself in a job or in a business or whatever you choose to do that you really love to do. So that's when things will really click for you. And I know that path can be kind of challenging and full of fear. I mean, if fear doesn't come up on a daily basis, then you may not be taking enough big steps. And so I'm happy to help people with that kind of information, or that kind of transition. My book is part of that. But I really encourage you to take just one small step right now. So that could be finding a mentor, somebody who is really happy in their job, let's say, or let's say they're in a field that you're thinking you might want to go into, and just take them out for lunch and pick their brain about how did they make the transition work, and how did they get into that kind of work, and what would they recommend to somebody who was thinking about getting into that line of work. The other small step you could take is just doing research on the internet. You can take the Myers-Briggs. There are, in fact, if you email me at corneliaward.com, I can email you a link how to take the Myers-Briggs online without a fee, so that you can kind of get a general sense. So that's the kind of internet research you might think about. If you're really lost, besides taking the Myers-Briggs assessment with the jobs that you might be able to do, you could also just journal, just write down some thoughts about, what are some things that you've loved to do in the past? What are some ways that you feel really fulfilled? And that kind of can lead you in the right direction. You can also check out my book at goforwardfearlesslybook.com/pre-order. You can get the book there. And you can also get a free chapter, which is actually not the life purpose chapter. It's a different chapter that kind of builds the foundation for transitions. But you can definitely sign up to get a free chapter there if you don't want to just buy the book now. And you can also sign up to request a free discovery session with me, where we'll take a few minutes. We can get a lot done in a little bit of time. I can really zero right in. It won't cost you a thing, and help you identify those next steps to your dream career. So I encourage you to take those steps you deserve to work in a job, a career, your dream career that you really love and can make the world a better place.